How I became a certified snitch. Story time. Growing up, me and my brother never really got along, but we had this code to never tell on each other. But that went out the window the day he decided to open up his mouth and snitch on me. Here's what happened. So my mom got me this electric scooter when I was a kid, and the only rule I had was that I was not allowed to drive it if she was not home. She did not play those games. She did not want me outside by myself, riding this scooter, spinning the block. So one day she left me and my brother home by ourselves because she had to work, and my brother took it upon himself to leave me by myself. And I don't remember how old I was, but I was way too young to be home by myself. Take a shot every time I say by myself. By myself, by myself, by myself. So to me, I was like, this is the perfect opportunity to go take my scooter out for a little spin. So that's what I did. I took that scooter out like I had errands to run that day. And I was enjoying myself. You couldn't tell me nothing. I rode my scooter down to the park. I was all in the road with it. You couldn't tell me nothing. That was until I turned the corner thinking I was cute. And at the end of the block was my brother and his friends. We locked eyes and my brother was like, like, you left me home. What you mad at me for? What you thought I was gonna do? Homework? I turned around so quick, fell off my scooter, got back on it, and drove home. When I got home, I busted through that door, threw my scooter in the closet, and sat on the couch like I ain't do nothing, knowing dang well me and my brother saw each other. A couple minutes later, my brother comes in and he's like, I saw you. I saw you, and I'm telling. Or you could do my chores for a month. I ain't about to do nobody's chores. So I told him to go ahead and tell, because I was just going to tell that he left me home alone. Well, mom gets home later that night and he tells on me, snitches on me. And she was so focused on me riding my scooter outside by myself that she didn't even care that my brother left me home alone. So I was the only one who got in trouble. Not only did I get in trouble, I got a butt whipping. I was so mad. I was so mad by myself. And from that moment on, I swore no matter what my brother did, I was going to snitch on him. And that's how I became a certified snitch. I started telling on everything. He couldn't even wipe his butt without me telling my mom on him.
So the other night when I got off the subway, I was speeding home just because it was nighttime, but it was only like 9 p.m. so there were a lot of people walking by anyway. And I had AirPods in, but nothing was playing. I just have it in so no one bothers me. And this guy kind of stops me, and I thought he was a homeless guy, so I took off my AirPods trying to like help him. And then once I realized that it's actually not, and he was complimenting me, I said thank you, and I put it back in so he doesn't bother me anymore. But I realized that he was a creep. And my first instinct was to just go home because it was right there on the end of the block. And my thought process in those few short seconds was to just have my key ready in my hand, go home as quick as possible. Hopefully he doesn't get it. And by the way, I'm also always carrying this in my hand. But I knew that I couldn't risk him knowing my address and him following me inside, so I had to go into a grocery store right away. And I chose a store that was very well lit, there are cameras, and is very popular. So I went into the store pretending like I was buying something, and he was still following me, and he was like, oh, let me buy some apples for you. And this guy is creepy, right? He's still following me deeper into the store. He sees that I'm not paying attention to him. But when he's coming close to me and he's talking to me, obviously I'm like scared, so I have to respond. That's when I start recording because I'm like, oh my god, what if I get assaulted right now? I said thank you to his compliments multiple times out, and he's still following me. Obviously I have my self-defense weapon in my hand, but I'm not trying to like actually use it. So as you guys saw in the video, at one point he asked to take me out and I said that I'm married. In most circumstances, men don't respect women, but they respect the men more if you say that like you're married or you're taken. So when I said I was married, he was like, no, you're lying. That's when he got like genuinely scary because I'm like, why are you like acting like that? Like, I already said thank you many times and I'm leaving your advances, and now you're calling me out for lying. Like, what do I owe you? And I was mad this entire time, but this is when I started genuinely creating a scene because I was like, this man is not leaving me alone, so let me try to get everyone's attention. And right when I raised my voice, he started stuttering. He was like, "T-t-t-t-t." I was like, yeah, stop following me. And that's when he started backing out of the store and people started realizing what was happening. And then he started saying like the strippers across the street and the places over there, they're nicer to him. Again, acting like I owe him something because strippers were nice to him. And again, around this point, I knew that he was lingering around the store because he was so adamant from before. So I wasn't trying to walk home again by myself. So as you guys might have seen in the video, I asked a male worker for help and told him that this random guy was following me. And I'm not gonna blame the worker because I know he's Spanish, he might have a language barrier. He also is probably used to these random creepy guys and they kind of just come and go. And he also had to do his work at the end of the day. When this worker kind of told me to let it go and just forget about it and still walk home alone, like there was no sort of solution. At this point, I'm alerting different people in the store that I did get followed and this is what happened. And then a kind woman came up to me and she was the one that offered me help and walked me home. And when I was walking home, we actually crossed the street, so we weren't on the same street as that guy anymore. And once I was walking home, I actually saw him by my house, but I don't think he saw me go in. Regardless, I got home safe, but it's very sucky that this had to happen. And it's not like a matter of it being a safe area or not, because I feel like it can happen in any area, in New York especially. I'm grateful that I reacted pretty well in this situation, so my rule of thumb is to always make a scene, always carry your self-defense weapons, unfortunately. A lot of these men know that these women tend to be nice and give them their name because they're feeling awkward or feeling, overwhelmed. When that guy introduced himself as Kevin, my innate nature was to say, oh, my name is this. But I held back and tried my best to not be nice to this weird guy. If you find like a well-lit area, make sure to go in there instead of walking straight home, even if you think you can outrun him. But yeah, I hope none of this happens to any of you guys ever.
Oh my god, now that I'm on break, I feel like I could tell y'all what happened to me yesterday. What the heck be going on in my life, for real? So yesterday I was down in my feelings because I had no money, so I decided to go shopping, right? So I go to the mall, mind you, I put on a cute little fit. I'm over here making myself look cute because I'm going to treat myself to a lot of things I shouldn't be having at the moment. So I'm in Victoria's Secret, I'm shopping around, I'm looking for cute little stuff because, I'm growing, I'm about to take a little solo trip soon, like, I want to look cute. And this guy, mind you, I always wear headphones when I go anywhere, like in public, because I have really bad social anxiety. So this guy comes up to me, he taps me on the shoulder, he was like, you look very, very beautiful. And I'm like, thank you. And he was like, okay, that's all I get. And I'm like, well, what else do you want? He was like, can I get your number? And I'm like, no, you're going to have to do a lot more than just say you're beautiful to get my number. Like, I've heard a lot better, And he was like, well, I want your number and I'm going to get what I want. And I said, well, I don't want you to have my number, so I'm not going to give you that. And I always get what I want. Like, what the first of all, don't start with me. He proceeds to go, he was like, sorry, you're not going to give me your number. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. I'm just getting out of something I really don't want. Like, it's no love right now. Like, you know what I mean? So he was like, well, I don't want love. I just want your number. And I'm like, well, I don't want you to have my number, so stop asking me for my number. No, I'm getting really annoyed right now because, like, I was already sad in my feelings. I don't need a man in my life talking to me right now, like, So he was like, oh, well, the way you're acting, you're very ugly on the inside, so that makes you ugly on the outside. I'm like, okay, so you want my number now that I'm ugly? He was like, well, I still want your number. I'm like, no, babe, you do not need my number. Yo, I'm getting mad again. So he was like, well, I don't want your number now. I'm like, okay, good, so have a good day. So I put my headphone back in and I'm starting to walk to like the cashier place or whatever, right? So he starts following me. He was like, do you want me to pay for that? I'm like, no, I don't want you to pay for anything. He was like, are you sure? I'm like, yes, in reality, I need him to pay for it because I should have been shopping in the first place, but no, I could pay for it. Thank you very much. He was like, you don't want me to pay for it? You don't even want to talk to me or anything? You don't want nothing from me, huh? And I'm like, yeah, that's actually the case, actually, very much. And the cashier kind of laughed a little bit because I thought it was funny too. And he was like, also, you want to be funny too? And I'm like, I'm not trying to be funny. He was like, watch this, right? So keep that in mind. So I start walking around the mall or whatever the case is. I keep seeing him in other little stores like stalking me, and I'm like, this is nowhere this is happening. I tell you, I see him in H&M looking in the crop top section. You doing it? You had no business being in that crop top section, but you're following me. Like, oh hell no. I get on the phone with one of my friends, and I'm like, okay, this man is following me. She's like, Alicia, you gotta leave now. I'm like, no, I want to get the rest of myself. I came to the mall for retail therapy. I'm not going to let some man ruin that for me. I'm not going to let you have this one. No. So I ended up going to the food court. So I get sit down and I get my little Chinese food or whatever the case is. Mind you, I'm sitting out eating by myself. I brought a little book with me trying to be mysterious in the mall. You know the vibe. But this man proceeds to come up next to me. He was like, hey, excuse me, miss. And I'm like, huh? So I look out and I take out my headphones and it's this man. And he was like, well, are you going to give me your number? I feel like I gave you time to cool off. I'm looking at him like, cool off from what? He was like, cool off from the little attitude you had. I'm not giving you my number, sir. Can you please leave me alone? So that's when I start to get up to leave to go like out the mall. Because honestly, at this point, I'm just pissed off. Like, he proceeds to follow me to the parking lot in the parking garage. So I'm literally parking. And I was like, sir, are you following me? He was like, no, I'm not following you. I just want to talk to you one more time. I'm like, no, I do not want to talk to you one more time. Listen, I'm trying to be nice to you, but you got to leave me alone because I'm trying to get mad. So mind you, it's like a couple people walking out from the parking garage to like go to their car. So he was like, are you going to give me your number? I turned to him. I said, why are you following me? The parking garage goes silent. This man looks at me like, and I'm like, what? When I tell you, people were like, is she okay? And like people were whispering like, is she okay? Like, so he was like, you finally got your wishes. I'm going to leave you alone. I said, good. And I went to my car. And I know I look crazy to them people, but you don't understand that this man was following me through like 3 stores. Like I went to H&M, Aeropostale, and American Eagle. Why are you still with me? Like relax. So I went in my car and I left and I drove off and like I kind of felt bad afterwards. All praise to the Most High. Bye, y'all.